Ministers, heads of space agencies, distinguished representatives, good morning. My name is Jonathan Margolis. I'm the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Science, Space, and Health in the Bureau of Oceans, International Environmental and Scientific Affairs, and it is my real pleasure to welcome you to the first ever International Space Exploration Forum. Welcome to Washington, welcome to the State Department. A couple of administrative announcements. I'll serve as your moderator for the rest of the day. I would note, in case you haven't noticed, in the back of the room, that the opening session here is open to the press. The press will be here for the entire opening session, and afterwards they will depart, and we will proceed in closed session after that. I hope you've had a chance to pick up microphones for translation services. Let me explain the translation services. English is on channel 1. Chinese on channel 2, Japanese channel 3, Korean is on channel 4, Russian is on channel 5, and Ukrainian on channel 6. I'm sure a little experimentation and you'll find the channel that's appropriate for you. Without further ado, let me introduce Deputy Secretary of State, William J. Burns.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to join Jonathan in welcoming all of you to the Department of State and to the International Space Exploration Forum. We have with us today representatives from emerging and established spacefaring nations from every corner of the globe, an unprecedented gathering at an unprecedented time for space exploration. Last year, China became the third country to complete a successful landing on the moon. India launched its Mars orbiter mission, and the United States' own Voyager 1 became the first man-made object to leave our solar system and enter interstellar space. This past year, we also celebrated 15 consecutive years in orbit for the International Space Station. And we made scientific discoveries and breakthroughs that transformed our understanding of outer space and our way of life here on Earth. That's why, despite the many pressures, challenges, and urgent priorities facing the United States at home and abroad, our commitment to space exploration is only growing stronger. We know that space exploration fuels economic growth. It spurs scientific and technological innovation. It inspires our young people. And at a relatively modest financial investment, it provides direct, real, and lasting benefits in nearly every aspect of modern-day life, from public health and safety to energy and information technology. The achievements of last year and the triumphs of the past century are not the product of a single country or a single space agency. They are the product of shared endeavors and shared sacrifices. Since its inception, NASA has signed more than 4,000 agreements with more than 120 countries and international organizations. The International Space Station, the most complex cooperative scientific and engineering project in history, has welcomed more than 80 countries to participate in its research. Rather than pursuing disparate paths of discovery, 12 national space agencies have developed a shared roadmap that will lead us to human missions to the surface of Mars. And to make the most of the technology revolution unleashed by communications, navigation, and Earth observation satellites, states are coming together to create a compatible and interoperable global navigation system of systems. As the number of spacefaring nations increases, as states' monopoly on knowledge and technology erodes, and as commercial interest in space exploration grows, international cooperation will prove more important than ever. We all share a deep stake in extending humanity's reach further into the solar system, advancing innovation further and faster, and extending the benefits of discovery to more people in more places. The question facing us today is whether we can muster the courage and political will to advance space exploration and ensure that cooperation continues to trump competition. If we do that, if we choose to put our collective strength behind cooperative efforts rather than competing efforts, the opportunities are as vast as the solar system itself. Let me highlight 3 particular areas where I think we can enhance our collaboration. First, we should encourage more countries to participate in the activities of the International Space Station. The station remains the leading space platform for global research and development. The station is the foundation for future human exploration to an asteroid, the moon, and ultimately Mars. And it is a lasting testament to how much more we can accomplish together than we can on our own. Second, we should explore ways to encourage entrepreneurial ventures and support the kind of robust and competitive commercial space sector that is vital to the next era of space exploration. Already, 2 U.S. companies, SpaceX and Orbital Sciences, have become the first private sector entities to send missions to the International Space Station, allowing NASA to focus on cutting-edge missions beyond low Earth orbit. Finally, we can do much more together to defend the planet from near-Earth objects and space debris. We continue to work through the United Nations Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space to deal with this challenge. And we're working with the European Union and other countries to develop an international code of conduct for outer space activities. We also would welcome international support for NASA's Asteroid Redirect mission, which, among other things, will help us learn how to better defend our planet from a catastrophic asteroid collision. In the courtyard outside this room sits a remarkable statue. The Man and the Expanding Universe fountain was installed 50 years ago to celebrate space exploration. Its sculptor, Marshall Fredericks, said that the work represents the immensity, order, and mystery of the universe. In the past 5 decades, our knowledge of this universe has advanced by leaps and bounds. But our task, as all of you know better than I do, is far from complete. The statue's place here at the State Department reminds us that space exploration is not just the preoccupation of scientists and astronauts, but a vital undertaking for all those who wish to advance the cause of global peace and prosperity. Now is the time to come together to make space exploration a shared global priority, to unlock the mysteries of the universe and to accelerate human progress here on Earth. I am confident that we will advance further, faster, if we work collectively. And so on behalf of Secretary Kerry, I want to once again extend my warmest welcome to all of you and wish you a very productive and successful forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Secretary. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Enrico Suggese, the President of the Italian Space Agency. And if you haven't noticed, if you're following along in your programs, this is a slight change from what might be written in your programs, but not to the detriment for the talent that we're about to hear. Thank you, Mr. Suggese.
So, good morning. I am just giving a speech on behalf of my minister. She was not able to come early enough. She will arrive this afternoon. So what I am now giving you is what she would have liked to give you as an opening address. So, Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, head of space agencies and delegates, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me express my pleasure and honor to participate in this prestigious forum today, hosted by the U.S. Department of State in Washington. As a representative of the Italian government, I am also very proud and grateful to the organizers to have the opportunity to deliver an opening address. In fact, as many of you may recall, all this started 2 years ago when, in collaboration with the EC and the European Commission and ESA, Italy hosted the first meeting of the high-level international platform for space exploration in Lucca. There, space leader, head of a space agency and governments representatives adopted the Lucca Declaration, starting a high-level dialogue on space exploration, aiming at creating a flexible protocol to increase knowledge and mutual confidence as a basis for ambitious space exploration projects. Indeed, Italy, in cooperation with ESA, in 2005, 6, and 7, organized and hosted in Tuscany, in the Abbey of Spineto, 3 workshops on international cooperation for sustainable space exploration, where representatives of 14 space agencies defined the first framework for the coordination of the individual plans for space exploration and discussed the elements underpinning the first global exploration strategy implementation. The first international process then merged into the International Space Exploration Strategy and the International Space Exploration Coordination Group. These works produced the final Global Exploration Roadmap document issued in August last year. So, Mr. Chairman, distinguished ESEF members, every country has had its explorer, and their discoveries were shared with all mankind. This shows that the human being feels the need to search always for something beyond the limits of this current knowledge. This is one of the goals of our existence. This is also the driver of science. When in 1961 President Kennedy told Congress the United States should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth, he embodied the challenge of its generation and gave inspiration to all mankind. Every generation has its boundaries and its frontiers. Outer space is today frontiers of exploration. Our common goal is the exploration for scientific investigation and other peaceful purposes of the Moon, Mars, asteroids, and other celestial bodies, as foreseen by United Nations Treaty on Outer Space and the International Space Law Principles. Within this framework, as a nation driven by the need to explore, experiment and research, Italy established many cooperation relations during the last 50 years. In particular, Italy contributed with scientific instruments and know-how to many solar system science missions in partnership with NASA, ESA, and other space countries. Let me mention only the Cassini-Huygens, the most successful deep space mission still ongoing around Saturn. Italy is also the major contributor to the realization of the ESA exploration program to Mars, ExoMars, aimed at the development of enabling technologies to allow next steps on the red planet exploration. We are very proud of the Italian contribution to the International Space Station, realized through the partnership with NASA and ESA. More than 50% of the pressurized volume of the ISS has been designed and realized in Italy. The multi-purpose logistic module, the permanent multi-purpose module, the cupola, nodes 2 and 3, Columbus Lab, part of ATV and part of Cygnus. 120 prime investigators have successfully performed experiments on board the ISS, representing our capacity to participate in this first multilateral challenging project. Space research is a long-standing commitment for Italy and gives great inspiration to our youth to pursue a career in science research. Let me mention that in 2014 we will have our first woman astronaut aboard the International Space Station. Italy fully shares the 4 European guiding goals for space exploration. First, a robust international program of solar system exploration. Second, innovative space technologies application that can improve the daily life of a citizen and create economic opportunities. Third, education and inspiration programs for younger generations. Fourth, international cooperation and global partnership. Italy, during its term of the EU presidency from July to December 2014, will encourage and support the European space exploration strategy based on an optimized and dynamic balance between robotic and human spaceflight, also closely related to the Horizon 2020 program. We all are deeply convinced that technologies enabling space exploration will also advance the scientific research on Earth thanks to application and spin-off that could ensure progress in innovative products and services for the sake of mankind. We appreciate the efforts accomplished in the framework of the International Space Exploration Coordination Group and share the result of the Global Exploration Roadmap document issued in August 2013. We are aware that maintaining a stable human presence in outer space requires a huge scientific, technological, and economical resources. These are investments for the future of mankind. As you know, the International Space Station serves as an international lab, particularly on human health, biological, environmental, and material research. Particularly in these times, it is absolutely necessary to highlight the societal relevance of space exploration and to document extensively our commitment to deliver benefit to society. Let me add that the environment and development of more efficient technologies to preserve our planet and its resources are key issues for Italy, particularly in the face of International Expo 2015 in Milan, which is titled Feeding the Planet, Energy for Life. In order to create opportunities for future generations, we need to interweave a solid and long-standing international cooperation effort. Therefore, each country and each private or public actor is invited to contribute to the space enterprise with its own capacity, technology, and knowledge. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ESF members, in 1964, Italy began its adventure in space with the launch of San Marco first satellite for studying the Earth's atmosphere. After 50 years, I assure you that our commitment to space exploration within the new challenges of the European international environment is as strong as ever. Italy, a nation of explorers, will keep playing a strong role in space exploration, space research, and space industry. Space will be our future if today we take the responsibility as open-minded explorers to give our consensus without prejudice and limitation for building up an international space exploration cooperation platform for peaceful purposes. Space is our future, a future driven by curiosity, progress, and peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Enrico.
谢谢大家，谢谢
I'd now like to
Rico。
introduce Mr.
现在
Paul
我想介
Weisenberg,
绍
the
Paul
Deputy Director
Weisenberg，
General of
他是
Enterprise and Industry in the European Commission.
他是欧盟委员会的副部长。
Ministers, Secretaries of State,
部长先
Ambassadors,
生，
Heads of
副
Agencies,
国务
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start with a warm word of thanks to our American friends. We are grateful to you for hosting and organizing this conference in the United States, a country of explorers. Antonio Tajani, the Vice President of the European Commission, would have been delighted to be with us this morning. He asked me to transmit his personal words of thanks to colleagues from the State Department and from NASA and to all of you. Prague, Brussels, Lucca, now Washington, and in 2 years from now, Tokyo. This is the roadmap for the international framework of space exploration. The presence of so many distinguished personalities highlights the importance of the event. Space and space exploration need to be put on our respective political agendas. We, most of us, people living in and from space, should not take investment in space as granted. There is a case for space, but this case has to be made and has to be updated regularly. Investing in space today is investing in growth, employment, innovation for tomorrow. These investments pay off. Energy conversion, new materials are just examples. In the European Union, this recognition has led to a substantial increase of space financing in the next 7 years. Heads of state and government doubled the space expenditure at the level of the European Union. Investing in space is not considered as luxury. First of all, space exploration is in our genes. We are driven by curiosity. A human being has to go where nobody has been before. The French philosopher Teilhard de Chardin has captured this spirit in saying, "Our duty as men and women is to proceed as if limits to our abilities did not exist." Second, exploration is a catalyst. Is a catalyst for new technologies, innovation, and scientific results. Exploration improves the quality of life of human beings on Earth. And third, exploration is not just a matter of science and scientists. Exploration has a political connotation. It is linked to our political identity. In our case, to the identity of the European Union, which is different from the identity of individual member states. And as Europeans, we are proud to have kicked off the process which brings us together today in Washington. And we are proud to see that irrespective of conferences, exploration takes place in a very visible manner. Some feats are brand new. Our Chinese partners have landed on the moon in December. The lander is named after the Chinese goddess Shanghe, who lives on the moon. Congratulations to our Chinese friends. Some feats have a long history. Our Russian friends have been the first in almost all endeavors to explore space. They are an anchor tenant in the ISS. And they recently announced their intention to land on the Jupiter moon Ganymede. And some achievements in explorations are fruits of efforts which have begun a very long time ago. It was mentioned. The American spacecraft Voyager 1 has become the first man-made object to leave the solar system in 2012. And in the meantime, Curiosity continues to explore Mars. And some of these achievements are European. Shortly before Christmas, the European Space Agency successfully launched Gaia, another mission named after a goddess, this time a Greek one. This unmanned space observatory is on its way to create the most accurate map of the Milky Way ever made. So, ladies and gentlemen, exploration continues to happen, fortunately. But let's face it, the strategic and geopolitical environment in which we operate has changed. The world has become smaller, not just financially. Less and less nations are exploring space for national pride reasons. Competition, yes, but competition has reached its limits. Ambitious space exploration programs are beyond individual capabilities of most countries. That's why the Europeans, the European Space Agency and the European Commission kicked off this process of sharing our vision for future space exploration. Everybody in this room has assets which can serve as elements of a global political partnership. And this conference will contribute to the emergence of convergence in a very pragmatic way, step by step, building partnerships around technological projects, including demonstrators. And a lot of meetings on space exploration took place. This one is different. It is the political level allowing for an intensified dialogue linking space exploration to our bilateral or multilateral relations, which we have successfully established. Nothing in the universe can resist the converging strength of a large enough number of intelligences working together in an organized way. This could be a motto of this conference, but it is not. It is again Teilhard de Chardin, the French philosopher. In this spirit, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking forward to a very fruitful debate and a very positive outcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. It is now my pleasure to introduce His Excellency, Mr. Hakabun Shimomura. Please pay attention to this title. It's one of my favorite titles. The Minister of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology of Japan.
Distinguished representatives of government and space agencies, esteemed participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to address this forum as Minister for Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology of Japan on behalf of the Japanese government. First of all, I wish to express my deep appreciation to the U.S. government of state and the United States government for their strong leadership and generosity in fostering this international space exploration forum with ministerial participation from around the world. I would like to further express my gratitude to the European Union, European Space Agency, representatives of participant government and space agencies, and experts who contributed to initiating the process of intergovernmental dialogue on space exploration at the 3 international conferences on space exploration held prior to this forum. Why explore outer space? This question has been continuously asked ever since humans first ventured into space. And the conceivable answers are manifold: to challenge the limit of human potential, to discover new knowledge, and to develop resources in outer space, to name but a few reasons. In September of last year, as you know, Tokyo was selected to host the 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games. And as minister responsible for overseeing the Games, I would like to thank the participant nations here today for the kind support that we received for our bid. This is the second time that Tokyo will be hosting the Olympics, the first time having been half a century ago in 1964. The last Tokyo Olympics gave the people of Japan a stage on which to share their spirit of hope and dreams 2 decades after World War II, and provided the opportunity for tremendous advance in cutting-edge technologies. In this sense, the Olympics lent enormous momentum to the forging of new frontiers. And when the Olympic flame burns again in our country in 2020, I believe that it will once more lead people onto a fresh future and the carving out of new frontiers. The desire to challenge and extend the limit of human potential is something common to both the Olympics and space exploration. People are inspired by the challenge of advancing into the unknown, transported by unceasing effort and international endeavor, and without fear of limitation, and derive fresh value from it. and this aspiration acquires future significance when it transcends national borders. Last August, I visited the Yuri Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center in Russia, where I met Japanese astronaut Dr. Koichi Wakata during his training together with astronauts from the United States and Russia, who are now about the International Space Station with him. There, I was deeply struck by the sight of the United States and Russia, once fierce rivals even in space during the Cold War era, and the other members of the international community, including Japan, working together in a spirit of close trust on the ultimate stage. And I feel that it was symbolic of a new vision for the future of humanity. Dr. Wakata is now about the ISS and will become the first Asian commander of the station this March. His fulfillment of such a weighty responsibility aboard the ISS at the forefront of international cooperation will be an inspiration to the Japanese people, and especially to today's youth, upon whose shoulders the future rests. As minister responsible for promoting space development and artization, and also as a citizen of Japan, I am proud of Dr. Wakata's endeavor and feel keenly my responsibility to do all that I can to ensure that more young people will have the chance to make full use of their abilities in the field of space. It is my belief that space exploration, through its broadening of the realms of human potential, is of common value to humankind as a real-world policy concern. However, since exploration needs to be considered from several realistic perspectives, I consider the following 3 points to the important space exploration. Firstly, international cooperation must be technologically, politically, and financially sustainable. Secondly, good use must be made of the technological achievement and experience of frameworks for international cooperation gained through the ISS, the largest international project in space in human history. And thirdly, a clear roadmap for the continuation of space exploration beyond the ISS is required. Such a roadmap should, among other things, set forth the objective of space exploration and what it is expected to achieve, and should be understandable to the general public of participant nations, as well as their politicians, government officials, and space agency personnel. Numerous specific issues need to be discussed in depth if those countries intending to participate are to arrive at a common understanding of these points, including questions of how the necessary budget, human resources, technologies, and so forth should be secured, and how knowledge generated by space exploration should be shared. I therefore warmly welcome the opportunity created here today to initiate such a dialogue. Concerning how and in what form Japan will participate in space exploration, it would be premature to say anything definitive at this stage, since these questions first need to be debated in greater depth and from various angles in my country, I firmly believe, however, in the need to start discussing how to establish a realistic framework for space exploration in a manner that contributes to the future development of humankind as a whole. We undoubtedly stand on the cusp of a full-fledged expansion into space and expansion of the realm of human activity over the coming centuries. Exploration by government and space agencies will undoubtedly play a leading role in exploration of the moon once again and of asteroids and Mars. In the not-so-distant future, outer space beyond the Earth's orbit will become the stage of practical, including commercial activity. Indeed, this time may come much earlier than we imagine. Given this context, we must recognize that the intergovernmental discussion of a framework for international space exploration, upon which we are about to embark, will lead to the creation of international rules and mechanisms for the realm of outer space, into which humans will be expanding their presence in the future. Japan wants to be actively involved in building such a framework. At the same time, Japan seeks to further enhance the distinctive technologies and fields of expertise that it has developed independently to date, including the advance it has made in enormous transportation and robotics and space medicine and healthcare technologies. It has developed above the Kibo Japanese experiment module. We'd also like to proactively contribute to technical realization of manned space exploration through multilateral cooperation by means of our distinctive and advanced technology such as space promotion systems. The 2020s will usher in the dawn of full-fledged space exploration, in which the ISS will serve as a preparatory base. It is my sincere hope that the dialogue that it's about to begin today will deepen understanding of each country's position on space exploration and pave the way to a new phase in intergovernmental cooperation. And on that note, on behalf of the government of Japan, allow me to close by reaffirming our commitment to hosting the next forum in Japan, where we look forward to building on the fruit of this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Let me now introduce a slight change to our schedule. We're going to accommodate, if we can, our next speaker's schedule with some requirements that he has at the White House. And so we're going to jump right into our next session and go to the opening remarks by Dr. John Holdren. So let me introduce John Holdren, the Director of the White House Office of Science and Technology, the Assistant to President Obama for Science and Technology, and the co-chair of the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. John?
Distinguished colleagues, on behalf of President Obama as well as myself, let me welcome particularly our international guests who have traveled here to engage in what I know is going to be a fascinating meeting. I want to thank the organizers of this event, and I also want to thank the co-moderators of the panel that will follow, Mauro Del Ambrosio and Ma Xin-min, who will lead the session after my remarks here. I am sorry that my schedule at the White House will not allow me to stay for that discussion, but I can assure you that my close colleague and the leader of the United States Space Program, NASA Administrator Charlie Bolden, will be here together with his deputies and my deputies and our colleagues from the State Department to represent the U.S. administration and engage with you in this important and timely dialogue. In the few minutes I do have here, I want to convey a few important points about the United States' commitment to space exploration generally and to international cooperation in particular. First, you should know that as someone who spent the early years of his professional career in aerospace engineering and rocket science, I stand before you not just as President Obama's Science and Technology Advisor, but as someone who is personally passionate about space exploration. More important, you should know that the President shares that passion. I don't think he was making small solid rocket motors out of his mother's lipstick tubes as a child, as I was, but I do know that he was inspired by the space program from a very young age, and that he cares intensely today about the challenges and the rewards of reaching beyond the confines of our planet. And while the United States, like other nations, needs to temper its ambitions with budgetary realities, we should all be encouraged by the steadfast commitment that this President has shown when it comes to supporting the full range of space-related missions, including human and robotic exploration, Earth observation, planetary and space science, and technology development. These various missions were not proceeding in a balanced way during the last administration. So one of the first things the President did when he came into office was to start a process of putting NASA on a more sustainable and balanced course. Together, we made tough choices, canceling in 2010 some over-budget projects and replacing them with a bold but affordable program that included extension to at least 2020 of the operation of the International Space Station, the pinnacle of international cooperation in space to date. In addition, we have been nurturing new and promising commercial space transport enterprises to deliver cargo and soon United States crews to low Earth orbit. We have been investing in heavy lift launch vehicles and increasing our investments in transformative technologies critical to human missions in deep space. We have been refocusing our Earth observation capabilities, including on the International Space Station, to understand and appropriately respond to climate change and other environmental challenges. We have been maintaining our commitment to vigorous programs of planetary science and astrophysics based on robotic missions and space telescopes. And most recently, we began work on an exciting and technologically groundbreaking mission to send U.S. astronauts to an asteroid as a stepping stone towards sending astronauts to Mars in the 2030s. Now, I want to spend a few minutes on the first item of those that I just mentioned, the decision 4 years ago to extend the life of the International Space Station, that most remarkable living laboratory above the Earth, which has been inhabited continuously for more than 13 years now. The International Space Station is proving to be an amazingly flexible laboratory and an invaluable technology testbed for a range of potential solutions to the challenges of human space exploration. Indeed, NASA has estimated that station-based research will be needed in order to mitigate 21 of the 32 most significant human health risks identified as barriers to long-duration exploration missions. For example, fluid and air revitalization systems can require microgravity testing in order to reveal defects that may not be noticeable when testing goes on in earthbound labs. And of course, helping us prepare for long-duration space travel is just the tip of the orbital iceberg when it comes to advances that the International Space Station promises to accelerate. To name just a few, research on the space station conducted already has generated promising leads toward the development of new vaccines for salmonella and antibiotic-resistant bacteria, new technologies for microencapsulation of cancer drugs, which can improve the targeting of tumor cells while sparing healthy tissues, novel robotic surgical techniques that may allow the successful removal of tumors previously thought to be inoperable, and a water treatment capability that is already helping to deliver drinking water to economically struggling countries ravaged by natural disasters. In light of all these and many other scientific advances, and of course the great cultural and inspirational value of the international partnership that has supported this most ambitious and inherently optimistic of all international enterprises, I am very pleased to note that we announced yesterday that the Obama administration is committing the United States to yet another extension of the space station, this time to at least the year 2024. This decision follows a rigorous review of the safety aspects and expected benefits of extended operations. We hope that its announcement now, allowing time for full and careful consideration by our partners, will contribute to an eventual agreement by all to proceed in extending this unprecedented international effort further into the 21st century. Such a decision would instill in the scientific community the confidence that this singular platform will be available for the innovative long-term research that the community has wanted to conduct but has been hesitant to reach for. And I have high expectations for the kind of discoveries that we will make together on this unique Earth-orbiting platform, and high expectations as well for the public benefits and economic growth that it will foster. Finally, I want to remind you about what I think is an equally exciting and enormously promising exploratory mission that this administration is working to accomplish, that of sending astronauts beyond the moon, further than humans have ever gone, to visit and study an asteroid. That mission is to identify and capture a suitable asteroid, to redirect it to a stable orbit at the L2 equilibration point just beyond the orbit of the moon, and then to conduct one or more visits to that location, an unprecedented technological achievement that would integrate the best of NASA's science, technology, and human exploration capabilities and draw on the innovative prowess of our brightest scientists and engineers. That mission will significantly raise the bar of what humans can do in space and provide a practice platform for numerous technologies and activities that will have practical applications here on Earth and will also be critical to the success of our plans for sending astronauts to Mars. It will use current and developing capabilities to detect both large asteroids that pose a hazard to Earth and smaller asteroids that would be appropriate candidates for capture and redirection. It will accelerate the development of advanced in-space propulsion technology and take advantage of NASA's development of a new heavy-lift rocket and crew capsule. And of course, it will, for the first time, establish human operations in space at a location beyond the moon, the L2 gravitational equilibration point previously identified by NASA as a logical destination on the path extending the reach of humans toward Mars. I hope this mission inspires you as it does us, and I know that as NASA finalizes next steps toward its implementation, that Administrator Bolden would be happy to hear from any of you in this room about ways that your governments or home industries may want to play a role. Because we here in the United States understand that to accomplish any major project in space, whether it is a space station, a deep space asteroid mission, or eventually sending human to Mars, it can be to everyone's benefit to work together. We may have different flags patched to our spacesuits, and different cultures, different traditions, different political systems. But as the success of the International Space Station has shown, we can transcend those differences in space. It is this spirit of shared exploration and discovery that we are here to celebrate and to cultivate together. Of course, our nations all have a wide range of pressing priorities, and at times it can seem to some that adventures in space are a luxury that can be put off until another day. But we in this room know better. We know from our experience that the time is always now, and that with collective action and partnership, we can not just reach for, but can actually reach the stars. Thank you for your work, your commitment to space, and your service in the limitless realms of peaceful cooperation.
Thank you, John. Well, that brings to our close our opening session. I'm going to ask delegates to remain in their seats now, if I could. We're going to ask the press to depart the room, and I'll ask the moderators for the first session to come up and join us on stage while the folks who are here leave the stage.